Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Politicians make promises and break them, or if they keep them, many times those promises are so unviable that they can destroy the budget and the economy. And I must say that the Prime Minister of India is possibly the first politician who has openly condemned this practice of offering freebies, calling them ravidy. Ravidy is an Indian sweet made of sugarcane and sesame. Now, we have opened an important conversation over wasteful spending between the people and the representatives. Typically, it was because the CM, the Chief Minister, the Premier of Delhi, and the CM of Punjab, Arvind Kejriwal, had promised, for example, free electricity, free water, a pension of 1,000 rupees per month to every woman, and so on and so forth. And it's beyond the capability of the provinces to bear it. So what do? Their promises, they paid, declare themselves bankrupt, and the government at the central level is enforced to come to their aid. Now, beyond locking political horns, which the Prime Minister has done with opposition leaders, the Prime Minister's warning against fiscally wasteful policies has tended to be driven more in the election concerns, and it echoes widespread concerns over wasteful spending. There is no denying the fact that across the political ideologies, all parties resort to promise of free and heavily subsidized food, goods, services. It is to persuade people to vote for them, with no less than the Prime Minister recently calling for an end to this culture. The long-running and entrenched culture of political populism has to undergo scrutiny, and I'm very happy to say that the judiciary has taken note of it. Day before yesterday, I was having a telephonic conversation with the upcoming Chief Justice of India, Lalit, and I told him, I said, look here, you have to take an important decision. Why don't you do like this? Tell the people and the politicians that if they make a promise, it shall be a legalized promise, and they'll have to keep it. But if it in any way interferes with the financial stability, then you'll be guilty of not doing the job properly, and you'll be subject to prosecution and wasting the government funds. So either they will not make a promise, or they make only those promises which are within the ambit of being solved. And he laughed uproariously. He says he'll do it, but all the politicians will have a heart attack. I don't know whether he's going to do it or not, because there are various jurisdictional issues, there are various jurisprudential issues which are to be taken care of, so I can't stand in his. But one thing is clear, whatever you call them, whether you call them subsidy, whether you call them freebie, or whether you call them, as Modi has done, ravidy, the debate being framed by juxtaposition Modi's model of the new welfareism, which involves public provision of private goods against provision of services such as free power of the state government, as led by Kejriwal's party. Now, beyond locking horns, there is another issue which is coming up, and that is that the Prime Minister has to take care of the total party. So the warning of the Prime Minister against fiscally profligate policies is causing heartburn everywhere. And it couldn't come at a more opportune time. I must compliment again Mr. Modi. I may disagree with him at 100 of things, but there, the fiscal situation of the federal government and the state government is becoming very challenging. And when the situation becomes challenging, then it's important to take strong measures. The debate calls for now disentanglement of various issues. What is a freebie? How is it different from a subsidy? Are there good and bad subsidies? And who is to decide what's good and what's bad? The difference is, and let's not deny it, that the different sections of society require different kinds of support. Moreover, states are poised at various levels of economic development. But when one chief minister says, I'll give free color TVs to everybody, that's ridiculous. But the same chief minister, when she declared, I'll give meals to the poor at 1 rupee per meal, per thali, that was something welcome. Because even the most marginal classes are having food, but giving them TVs, that was stupidity and wasteful. So, what is deemed as a necessary state support for population in one state or for one section of people is not the same for others. And a wider conversation is required. The economic situation that forms the setting up such debate is worsening. And we are ignoring that. The politicians are ignoring that. Consider, for example, I'll give you an example. The power subsidy generated by Delhi and now by Punjab. There is an RBI report, Reserve Bank of India's report, that given the huge losses incurred by the power distribution companies, a bailout in 18 large states would cost these governments 4.3 lakh crores. 4.3 lakh crores only for the 18 states for the bailout. And this is 2.3% of their combined GDPs. To put this number in perspective, it is more than what the union government spends on education, health and rural development combined. And they are giving subsidies. With this loss, the theft of the power is there. They are not stopping that. But they say, no, you have the free. For the states like Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, the situation is particularly very worrying. And a bailout of this magnitude will only further worsen the matter. And that's a problem. Let's be clear, no freebie is ever free. And understandably, the political parties tend to be guided more by the short-term motive. Yet the free provision of the goods and services, guided by the political imperatives, has a fiscal choice. It involves that. It comes at the time of expense of spending more on such areas as infrastructure, roads, railways, schools and hospitals. So you spend on one thing, giving free television sets, and you don't build 100 schools. Simple. The Election Commission was asked by the Supreme Court to do something, and they say we can't do it because the law is not there. So either the Parliament has to make law or Supreme Court has to reinterpret the law. So members of the Election Commission or judges, for that matter, must resist rushing into discursive space created by the politicians. But undeniably, Prime Minister has opened a very, very important issue for discussion at all levels. Now, what can be done? There are various ways. As I said, we should tell these people, the people who promised, that in case it is a must, it must satisfy 4 parameters. A sizable number of the people would be benefited, but it would not impinge on the financial health of the province. Can we do it? I don't think you can do it. So you have to pick and choose. You can give subsidized meals, but the best thing is, why not give them the jobs? That's the unfortunate aspect. we always have wrong choices. What we spend money on giving the freebies, why not spend that money on creating infrastructure? Tell people, okay, we are building a job, you come and work here, okay, and you'll be paid. So no free food, but you come, you work, and you'll be paid. And you would find that at least 20% people will say, we don't want to work because they have the money otherwise. But they're just parasites. They're the leeches. And the politicians are making them so. Next step you can take. That build more and more infrastructure and involve private sector. I fail to understand why the private sector is not involved in infrastructure. I mean, so we have NBCC and others. Privatize them. But give them a guideline that you have got to do it. If the toll gates are required, tolls are required to cover the costs, fine, let it be, as long as they cover the cost plus, say, 10% of the profit. This will generate employment and you won't have to give the subsidy. Then, instead of giving them subsidy, why not do the graded cost? Say, for example, electricity. Up to 300 units, you can have a reduced rate. But if you've got more than 1,000 units, meaning in a house you've got 5 ACs, why have it? To make it exorbitantly expensive. So let one set of users pay for the other set, rather than the government paying it. But the politicians don't do it because they don't want to annoy anybody. And they know it, that the federal government will ultimately come to a rate. That's the worst thing. And as I suggested to the Chief Justice, it should be incumbent that if they go to the federal government because of these actions, then immediately they should be prosecuted for fraud. They should be prosecuted for misappropriation of money. And it's not difficult to do it. You have just got to amend the law. The Indian Penal Code and CRPC, the Criminal Procedure Code, they have to be amended and put in a new clause that when you intentionally, willfully and knowingly misuse government funds for further your political and or personal intent, even if it doesn't personally benefit you, even if that has to be added, because they say we are not getting anything personally. They will not say the party is not getting, no. So even if you are not getting anything personally, you are guilty of defalcation of funds, misuse of funds, amounting to misappropriation and fraud. Believe me, if this single law is made, and then implement it with such a force, have a special ombudsman for this purpose. And the ombudsman should have sweeping powers of investigation, prosecution, and conviction. Special courts can be set up for this purpose. And it must be time bound. That decision will be handed over in 1 week, period. Once the complaint is made, inquiry is to be conducted, completed in 2 weeks, decision to be made in 1 week. In 1 month, send the guy behind bars. This habit of freebies is in fact important. I don't deny it. There are many sections of society which need help. Give them health care. Give them health education. Give them employment. And if they are absolutely incapable, give them food even, yes. But that section might not be more than 1 in 10,000. We are in the habit of saying that everybody is marginal. Yes, it is. So, provide them with an incentive and ways to improve their employability rather than giving them dose. Giving doles is exactly what the colonial power used to do so that you don't work. You become parasites. And if you don't work, you will always vote for the party. It's like making the country drug addicted. And the drug is the freebie. That everybody, what the Prime Minister of India calls it. And that is important. And this culture is not only in India, let me tell you. It's there even in advanced countries. USA, Canada, each suffers from this. It might be in different forms. The form might differ. The substance is the same. But for countries like India, we need strong action because we don't have that sort of funds which these countries have. I hope the Prime Minister's call is taken in the proper way by the economists, by the policy makers, by the strategists, by the judiciary, by the legislature, and something is done. Something is done at the top level without any unnecessary delay. Any delay would be not only time consuming but would in fact finish the momentum that is there now. And once the momentum is lost, then the game is lost. Think about it. Thank you.